Anyway, like I said, I'm LS, Lucifer Star. I basically invented the wing shape pretty much, or the curved wing, and actually was the one who thought that it was possible to lift great amounts of air, great amounts of weight into the air. Like I say, I knew that basically. I understood the principle of the wing basically as a young child. I mean, I'm the one who understood it first. I figured it out. Anyway, and I'm the one behind all the wings and wing shapes, and also the jet engine. I theorize that it should be possible with a good enough fan to actually do jet engines. Anyway, my aircraft went by a couple different things. There was the wood ones, and then, like I say, after that, there were some metal skin ones, very thin metal skin ones. We mostly did it with the gliders. Like I say, there was these gliders. They had like skin, like they were super light, super light. You would know them from the Germany. Um, I forget. Like it was horsepower 80, horsepower 90. I think it might have been a two-stroke engine or something. Super light, little, more like a motorcycle engine, basically. Um, but he used really thin little structures and stuff like that. I mean, I'm sure they've probably rusted out because they were just thin metal skinned aircraft, basically, like sheet metal skinned aircraft. And anyway, there's some that like I just saw. Korea has one of my V inlet jets. I mean, Vickers, Victory. So I went with V inlet jet. I thought, it was an idea. Um, anyway, though, like I say, they did the wood thing, curved wood. It's because because we figured out steam and wood. If you steam something and use a hot, it'll actually curve the wood and everything like that. Anyway, so we were covering some of the aircraft, some of the gliders with thin metal skin. Um, I think it's when we got sheet metal or something we could produce because sheet metal sheeting is like really cheap. Like it's like you can make an aircraft fairly easily, or a glider out of sheet metal, like super easy. So I was having some sheet metal gliders or sheet metal aircraft done, and try messing around with the little tubular designs and like super thin as an alternative to aluminum. Um, I forget. There was a problem with aluminum. Like I say, all the Vickers and Victory jets had to be reskinned because of the fact that the aluminum was really soft. It really didn't have the structural integrity. Like metallurgy's really, we had everything that we needed in 1800. Like I say, there's actually some aircraft that were as early as oh 1200, and I mean there were some, but just not very many. They were really super expensive because metal mining really didn't see like I really didn't have that much metal mining stuff. I was really getting going around 1700. That's when I hit my stride, and then around 1900 and stuff like that, year 1900. That's when metal became more and more common. Before that, it was all wood. Like 90% of the stuff was wood, because wood you could wood trees grow pretty quickly, and you can just steam and curve them. You can applying steam and pressure. You can go and like you can kind of you lock it in, and then you can basically turn wood into almost any shape. You can make a curly Q out of wood. Wood's really, 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 really useful, and it lasts a pretty good amount of time if you keep it dry and keep the moisture and the bugs from getting to it. They lasted pretty good. So there's a lot in the way past. I don't know why they say there are no wood aircraft. Blah, 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 blah. It's like wood aircraft. I mean, aircraft were all wood. Everything was wood. I mean, there's the wood. I mean, even the Vickers jet. There were Vickers jets made out of all wood. The first Vickers jets were made out of wood. I mean, everything was made out of wood. Um, because it was just so bendable and just so common. And using a steam press once you get the steam press set up, you can just build them all day. So, and that was Russia had a lot of all wood aircraft, a lot. Anyway, Germany, Russia, anyway, it's complicated. And, I mean, it was a long time ago. Long time ago. It's just so funny because, like, I don't know. Now my name is Brian, so. The old days. Like, I mean, we had all wood cars. I mean, I mean, there's leather fender cars, yes, but we had all wood cars that, I mean, like, it looked like just like one of those rolled three-way fenders and stuff. Only it was made out of all wood, thin oak wood, I mean, thin hardwood or whatever, or thin wood, and then I think they could even make it out of pine, and then you just use a steam press and go, and you get this perfectly good wood fender that works great as long as you keep it dry. With the right kind of paint, it worked fine. Anyway, I don't know. They only lasted about 35 years or so, and then they fell apart, of course. Oh well. Anyway, though, but there's a lot of aircraft that I built and paid for that were made out of thin sheet metal. It didn't last very good. Like, I forget if it wasn't galvanized. It might have been galvanized. I mean, for the longest time, we didn't have metallurgy all that great. But once we got sheet metal and thin metal, we made all kinds of stuff. Like, there's a lot of really thin gliders that only weighed, like, I think 600 or 800 pounds. And they were pretty big too. I mean, they might have been, it was like 800 or 1,200 pounds for this great big huge glider, two-person glider that had these two like motorcycle engines, one on either side. They called it Germany, but it wasn't really Germany. And and you could go up, to 1,000 feet or 2,000 feet, no problem. I think it had like a 5,000 or 6,000 foot ceiling. And you fly around. You had like two motorcycle engines, one on each side. It was actually like a glider that you would actually like pull up with another aircraft, and then basically you would cut it loose, and then and you would start the engines and go, and you could fly around. And it was made out of sheet metal. I think it was sheet metal because aluminum was really expensive back in the old days, and we could sheet metal you can get really cheaply. And they were also messing around with doing like things like taking sheet metal and like curling it up, and then you get to like this little spar, and then you like, there's a lot of stuff with that. They're messing around with little tubing and stuff, and so I paid for a couple experiments, and they ended up making like 1,200 of these gliders. There's one that was made with like 90 horsepower, 9 horsepower, or something like that. I forget. It wasn't. They didn't have a lot of power. They're basically mostly just gliders, and then later on we had bigger and bigger engines on them. And eventually, I think they ended up becoming an aircraft company in their own right. Like, they ended up having like 250 horsepower or something like that on these little bitty engines. They're like yay big. Like I say, I was the one with the torpedoes and with the torpedo alcohol engines. So, and those things ran pretty good. It's just that, I mean, anyway, yeah, I own the patent for the alcohol engines for the torpedoes, which was like this huge. I mean, I spent a lot of money on it, and it was like this huge thing. And anyway, I mean, it was better than the electric drive torpedoes. So, although it did use a heavy. Anyway, whatever. So frustrating. Anyway, I hate seeing them be used for war, but I mean, it changed everything, so. Oh well.